10-point step form. By the end of the lesson, I will be able to graph using the formula y equals mx plus b. 3 steps in how to graph from y equals mx plus b. The first thing is to plot the y-intercept, or the value of b, the constant. We're going to plot it. Part number 2 is count the slope, and we count the slope from this point. Right? We don't start at the origin. We don't pick up our pencil. We're going to put our y-intercept on the y-axis, and then we're going to start counting slope from there. We don't pick our pencil up. And number 3, we're going to draw a line with a ruler. If you do this without a ruler, I am not going to accept it. I am sorry. So y equals negative 5x minus 3. We need to identify our slope and our y-intercept. Our slope is negative 5. You're probably thinking up, down, left, right. I don't know, Miss Lampkin, it's not a fraction. So what you're going to do, all integers can be written over 1. So now I have my rise negative 5 and my run of 1. If you have an integer without a denominator or a slope without a denominator, the denominator is always 1. And our y-intercept is negative 3. Do not forget the negative in front. Remember that y equals mx plus b, so we need to ensure that this is adding a negative. So it is negative 3. Now remember, b equals bomb, and we are finding the y-intercept. So we need to put the y-intercept, or the bomb, on the y-axis at negative 3. So I have my y-intercept plotted at negative 3. I'm going to count my slope, and I am going to show you on the screen my arrow notation, but if you use arrow notation on your piece of paper, lightly show it, because you don't want to think that it's part of your line. So I'm going to go down 5 from my y-intercept. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to go right 1, and I'm going to put a point right there. I do not have a straight edge because I'm writing on the whiteboard, so do not judge my crooked line. However, you are going to draw with a ruler through the 2 points, and you're going to have a straight line. Okay, so there's my line. Find the y-intercept, plot it, and then count slope, draw my line. Number 2, my slope is negative. I give my negative to the numerator every time. Can you give it to the denominator? Sure, I give it to the numerator every time. This is not the same as this. Okay, there is only one negative over here, so you can only write one negative in your slope. So my slope is negative 8/3, and my y-intercept is 4. I'm going to plot my y-intercept at 4, and I'm going to count my slope. I need to go down 8. I'll show my arrow notation. I'm going to go down 8, and then I'm going to go right 3. And I'm going to put my second point. I'm going to get out my ruler, and I'm going to draw a straight line between the 2 points, making sure that I have arrows on both sides. So my final line is the blue. So there's my line of y equals negative 8/3 x plus 4. Third one, my slope is 3. I like to write it as 3/1 because it doesn't have a denominator. I need to give it a denominator. My y-intercept is 2. Going to the y-axis and plotting my y-intercept at, how about positive 2. I'm going to count my slope. I'm going to go up 3 and right 1. I'm going to put a second point there. Using my ruler, I'm going to draw a straight line with arrows on both sides. Last one, y equals 4x minus 10. My slope is 4. It's actually 4 over 1, rise over run, and my y-intercept is negative 10. Don't forget your negative in front of the 10. Plotting my y-intercept, or my bomb, on the y-axis. My y-intercept, I'm going to count my slope. Up 4 and right 1. So put my point right here. Using my ruler, I'm going to draw my straight line, and that is it. Write in an equation. At the end of the lesson, I will be able to write an equation from a given line. 3 steps, how to write an equation from a given line. The first thing is that we need to find or identify the y-intercept. The second thing is from that y-intercept, we need to count the slope. And then the third thing is substitute integers for slope, or the m, and the y-intercept, which is the b. Here is our first graph. I need to identify both my y-intercept and my slope. So my slope and my y-intercept. My b value is the red point on my graph, and the b value is at positive 4 on the y-axis. So my b value is 4. And counting my slope, I need to find a place that my graph intersects the grid. So I'm going to put that point in green. It's right here. No other point from this red point down to my green point does it intersect perfectly on a grid mark. So on the corner, or an intersection on the grid paper. So I am now going to count my slope. I am going to do this from the red point to the green point using arrow notation. So I'm going down, and I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I went down 7, and I'm going to the right 3. So my slope, rise over run, rise over run. I'm going to substitute into my equation, my slope-intercept equation of y equals mx plus b. My y equals, my m is negative 7/3. My b value is positive 4. This is my final solution. Y equals negative 7/3 x plus 4. Second example, same process. My slope, my y-intercept, and then I will substitute into my equation. So my my b value, sorry, you have to find your b value first. I always write my m value and then my b value, but you have to do them in reverse. So my red dot is at positive 3. If this helps you, write the positive in front of the 3. Then I'm going to find a place in which they intersect. The line intersects at the perfect grid, and I'd say that is right there. Using my arrow notation, rise first, so I went down 3, and I also ran left 2. So I went down 3, and I went left 2. Notice, and please note, that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So my 2 negatives, if I have 2 negatives, I need to convert that into a positive fraction. So I have y equals my m value of rise over run, and then my b value of positive 3. So my equation is y equals 3/2 x plus 3. Third example, my m, my slope, my y-intercept, my equation that I'm going to sub in for. My y-intercept, or b, or the red dot in the graph, is at negative 2. I am going to see where the grid matches. You could have picked either one of these green dots. I should have said that before. You can pick any of them. I could pick either one and I'm going to get the same slope. I'll show you why. I'll change this one to black and I'll write the difference in there. So I'm going to rise from the red dot to the black dot. So I'm going to rise 1 and I'm going to run 4. So the black dot slope is rise 1, run 4. The green dot's slope, if I go rise -1, run -4, I have -1 over -4, and oh my gosh, look, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so those two things are equivalent. So don't be scared as to what point you're supposed to pick, just pick one. So I'm going to substitute my values in, and my M value is 1/4. My B value is -2. So y equals 1/4 x minus 2. One last slope, y-intercept, y equals mx plus b. My y-intercept is at -4. It's the red dot. It's also where the line crosses the y-axis. I'm going to count my slope, and I'm going to pick this one. I know that there is one right here, but I'm going to pretend I didn't see it. So I'm going to pick that one way, way, way up top. I'm going to rise from the red dot to the green dot. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means I went up 8, and I'm going to run +2. So we don't know, and our y-intercept of -4. So either one of these two equations is okay.